minimal chatter. Today we're going to be reading Konosuba. I've read chapter 1 like 2 months ago. Today we're going to be doing chapter 2. Man, how does this sound? Alright. One moment. And for anybody tuning in for their first time ever, you can call me Dragon the Waifu King. And I really appreciate your time. Hold on. I got this. Just gotta use my brain. There we go. There we go. Much better. Alright. May there be treasure, by which I mean panties, in this right hand. Part 1. Hey, I've been meaning to ask, how exactly do you acquire skills? It was the day after we fought the giant toads. Oh no, you hear that? There's ads. There's ads in my OST. Oh, okay, I see. My bad. Give me 10 seconds. What? Have there been ads in my last couple streams? Oh goodness. Let me sign in. This browser may not be secure. Oh my goodness. You don't know what you're talking about. We got it though. Let's see, switch. Oh my god. Well, there's probably no way I'll be able to. What? Let's clear the cache. Let's close it out. Reopen it. What the heck is that? Give me another 60 seconds. I said I would cut the chatter down. Last time I read a chapter, it took me an hour and a half. I'm already pretty tired. All right. Oh, nice. We're in. We're good. We're good. Would you mind cutting that down a little? Hey. Hey, you. Would you mind cutting that down a little? All right. Alright, time to start for real. Thank you for being patient with me. Yo, Nintendo fan. How you been vibing? I'm chilling. Trying to stream every day. Today I'm just gonna read this book. I've been meaning to read it for a minute. Alright, chapter 2. Hey, I've been meaning to ask, how exactly do you acquire skills? It was the day after we fought the giant toads. We were having a late lunch at the Guild Tavern. In front of me, Megumin, who apparently had no money, had been unable to eat anything decent until she had met us, was single-mindedly working her way through a combo meal. Aqua was getting a nearby waiter to bring her seconds. I think the jammies are too loud. There we go. Oh yeah, I can cut my mic back up. Much better. Sorry for breaking the immersion. Let's go back in. She sure had a fine appetite for a woman her age. You'd think a party of 2 girls and 1 guy would basically be a starter harem. But this wasn't hot at all. Megumin looked up, fork still in hand. How to learn skills? Why, from the place your card that shows current skills available. How to learn... Hey, I never said I was a good reader. How to learn skills? Why? From the place on your card that shows currently available skills? Of course. Of course. Oh, your class is adventure, is it not? Since that's the starter class, you have to have someone teach you new skills. Have them show you a skill, then guide you through it. Then it'll appear on your card, and you can allocate points to it. Simple. Okay. I was pretty sure the clerk at the guild said adventurers could learn any skill. Meaning if I got you to show me how to do it, Megumin, I could even learn explosion? Yes, exactly. Wow! She became inordinately excited by my offhanded question. Yes, that is exactly, Kazuma. It would take an outrageous number of points, true, but adventure is the only other class besides Archwizard that can learn explosion. If you'd like to learn it, I will show you as many times as you want. After all, is there any other skill that is even worth learning? No, of course not. Now, Kazuma, join me on the explosive path. Her face was very, very close. Calm down already, jailbait. I only have 3 skill points. Anyway, I can learn explosion with that? Jailbait? Megumin was too overcome to continue the conversation, so I turned to Aqua. An adventurer who wanted to learn explosion wouldn't manage it wouldn't manage it with 10 or 20 points, she said. If you worked at it for about 10 years, saving up every single skill point, you might be able to learn it. Who would wait that long? You said I'm jailbait? Megumin, seemingly in a state of shock at my turn of phrase, hung her head and returned to wolfing down her meal. Anyway, since the ability to learn any skill at all was only one of the few advantages of my class, I might as well make the most of it. Hey Aqua, you must know all kinds of useful skills, right? Teach me something easy. Something that won't take too many skill points, but will still be helpful. I'm looking for a good deal here. Aqua held her water glass thoughtfully and was quiet for a moment. I don't go around teaching them to just anybody, got it? There was Aqua, trying to make herself look important again. But since I needed her to teach me, I would have to just tolerate it. Nodding solemnly, I watched Aqua perform her skill. First, look at the glass. It's full of water, right? You're going to take it and balance it on top of your head so it doesn't fall off. Here, try it. I managed to steady the glass on top of my head, all too aware of the stares of bystanders. Then Aqua produced a seed of some kind from who knew where and set it on top of the table. Now, use your fingers to flick the seed into the glass. If you get it, presto, the seed will absorb the water in the glass and... Hey, who asked to learn party tricks, you useless goddess? What? She seemed excessively surprised by my reaction, enjoying Megumin and sitting dejectedly. She idly flicked the seed around the table. I didn't know what she was upset about, but I wished she would take the stupid glass off her head. It was attracting attention. Suddenly, somebody piped up. Haha, you're a funny one. Hey, are you that party Darkness wants to get on? You want to learn something useful? How about some thief skills? That's when I saw two women at the table over. The one who called out was a youngish girl with silver hair, very attractive, wearing leather armor and had a casual air. There was a small cut on her cheek. She seemed a bit cunning, but also open and cheerful. Beside her sat a loving girl with long golden hair and a full set of plate mail. She seemed cool and aloof and, wait, wasn't she the female knight who tried to join the party the day before? The thief looked to be a year or two younger than me. Thief skills? What kind of skills are those? The girl seemed pleased by my question. I'm glad you asked. They're very useful for starters. You can detect and disarm traps. You can set an ambush and steal items. You can set an ambush or steal an item. And there are even a bunch of great passive abilities. Your class is adventurer, right? Well, you don't even need many skill points to learn thief skill. It's a great deal. What do you say? I'll teach you for a cheap price of 1 crimson beer. So cheap! And on reflection, I realized there was no risk in having this girl teach me something. If I wanted to learn more thief skills, I could always ask any of the thieves wandering around town. Alright, it's a deal. Waiter, 1 crimson beer for the lady, please. Part 2. Maybe I should start by introducing myself. I'm Chris. I'm a thief, as you can see. And this boar here is Darkness. I think you've already met. She's a crusader, and I don't know if she'll have many skills you'll want to learn. Great. My name's Kazuma. Nice to meet you, Chris. The 3 of us were all but alone in the square behind the Adventurers Guild. I'd left the other 2 to mope back at the stable. All right. Maybe we should start with Sense Foe and Ambush. We'll have to take a rain check on Disarm Trap, since there aren't many traps around. Let's see. Darkness, turn around for a second, would ya? Huh? Alright. She turned her back, as she had been told. Chris hopped onto a barrel a short distance away, so that only her upper body was visible. Chris hopped into a barrel a short distance away, so that only her upper body was visible. Then she pitched a stone at Darkness. Head and ducked down into the barrel. Was that supposed to be ambush? Without a word, Darkness strode towards the only barrel in sight. Sense foe. Sense foe. I can sense Darkness's rage approaching. Hey, Darkness. You know, I'm only doing this to teach the guy some skills, right? Right? Be gentle. Stop it! Chris shouted as Darkness turned the barrel on its side and sent it rolling. Can I really learn anything this way? Okay then. How about you try my number 1 recommendation? Steal. It snags a single item from a target. Doesn't matter if it's a sword they're clutching or a purse buried deep in their pocket. 1 random item. The success rate depends on your luck stat. It can do some pretty great things. Maybe you're facing down a fearsome enemy and you grab a weapon, or you nab some hidden treasure he's got and then make a break for it. Chris had collected her wits after her ride in the barrel, and she was filling me in on the finer points of the steal skill. It certainly did sound useful, and if it was really based on your luck, I finally had a chance to make use of my 1 good stat. I'm gonna use it on you now, okay? Chris said. Ready? She held her hand out and shouted, Steal! And suddenly, she was holding a small object. It was my wallet! Hey! Not that there was much in it. Oh, score! That's how you use steal. Here's your wallet. Chris stopped as she was about to hand the wallet back to me, and then smile crept over her face. Hey, she said, how about a little contest? Learn steal right now, then steal any 1 item from me. My purse, my weapon, it's all fair game. Whatever you get, it's got to be worth more than this ratty thing. She gave me my wallet a shake. So, I'll keep this wallet, and whatever you get from me, you keep in exchange. What do you think? Give it a try? She sure came up with some crazy ideas, but I stopped and thought about it. I had high luck, and I could steal any 1 thing from her. In other words, even if the skill failed, I probably wouldn't walk away empty-handed. Why not give it a try? I bet a bet like this seemed like a sort of thing only a couple of crazy adventurers could get up to anyways. I loved it. For the first time since I got in this world, I found something that made me feel like a real adventure. When I checked my adventurer's card, I found a new field available. Available skills. When I touched it with my finger, 4 skills appeared. Sense foe, 1 point. Ambush, 1 point. Steal, 1 point. The wonders of nature, 5 points. The wonders of natures. Was that the seed in the glass party trick Aqua was showing me? Was that kind of a name of that for a parlor trick? Huh? It took more skill points than everything else combined? I admit I was intrigued by the party trick, but I took in the other skills on my card. Sense foe, ambush, and steal. That used up my 3 skill points, so the available points field now showed 0. So this is how you learn skills around here. Alright, I've learned it, and you're on. No matter what I steal, no complaining, right? I stuck my right hand out. Strangely, Chris was smiling. Good. I like a man who doesn't back down from a challenge. I wonder what you'll get. You might just recover your wallet. First prize is this enchanted dagger. It won't sell for less than 400,000 heirs. And I even have a consolidation prize. These rocks I picked up earlier to throw at darkness. Hey, that's a dirty trick, I said, looking at the collection of pebbles in Chris's hand. I wonder why she was so confident. I guess carrying around a bunch of junk items was a way to thwart steal. Call it your intuition. No skill is all-powerful. With a little imagination, you can come up with a counter to anything. Lesson learned. Now go for it. Damn it, lesson learned all right. Seeing Chris grin at me, I even felt a bit like an idiot for letting her game me like this. This wasn't Japan. This was a world of survival of the fittest. It was my own fault for being gullible. Anyways, my odds might be lower, but the contest wasn't over yet. Alright, here I come. Luck's always been the only thing I've ever had on my side. Steal! As I shouted, I found myself grasping something tightly in the outreach of my right hand. First try! Lucky. Good luck really was one of my gifts. I opened my hand and took a close look at what I had snatched. The heck is this? It was a single piece of white cloth. I held it up in the light. Yahoo! This is even better than first prize! Oh no! Give me back my panties! Chris shouted tearfully, holding down her skirt. Part 3. When I got back to the Guild Tavern after learning my skill, I had found it in an uproar. Milady Aqua, do it again! I'll pay! Show us the wonders of nature again! You idiot! Our dear Aqua doesn't want money. She wants food. Right, my dear? I'll treat you. So show us the wonders of nature again. For some reason, the crowd surrounded Aqua. She looked more than a little annoyed. This is art. This is not something you do any old time somebody asks. A great man once said, a good joke is only good once. I'm not some third-rate street player who will do the same thing over and over again just because it's a little popular. In fact, I'm not a performer at all, so I'm hardly interested in making money from my art. That's the very least someone can commit when they want to seek to refine their skills. Anyways, the wonders of nature was never something I intended to show you lot. And hey, Kazuma, you're finally back. You know, it's your fault this happened. Say, what's with her? Aqua had noticed the wet-eyed, sulky Chris who accompanied me as I pushed my way through the crowd. Darkness opened her mouth before I could explain. Chris is upset because not only did Kazuma take her panties, but then he held them up for ransom. Hey, way to run your mouth. Hold it. Wait. I mean, she's not wrong, but really? Wait. Chris had wept. Chris had wept that she would pay anything I asked if I would let her have her panties back. So I told her that she could set a price for her own intimates. That was all. And then I added that if I didn't like the price she named, I would just keep the panties and take them as to become an heirloom of my house. She pulled out her wallet, along with the one she had taken from me, and traded them for the underwear. Darkness made it sound unseemingly. I was starting to squirm under Aqua and Megumin's gaze, taken in as they were by Darkness's telling, but then Chris raised her dejected face. Well, I guess getting your underwear snatched in public is no reason to get in a mood. All right, Darkness, sorry, but I'm gonna hit up this well-stocked dungeon I know and do some grinding. I did just use up all my money to get back my hostage panties. Hey, hang on. Aqua and Megumin, I'm used to, but every female adventurer in this room is glaring at me now. Just wait. It looked like most of the women in there had overheard our conversation. Chris snickered at my anxious expression and said, Just a little revenge, huh? All right, I'm off to make some cash, so play nice. Darkness, catch you later. With that, Chris made for the Adventurers Recruitment Board. Aren't you going with her, Miss, Darkness? I asked. The knight still sat at our table, like it was the most natural thing in the world. No, I'm a frontline defender. We're an heiress a dozen. Thieves, though. You can't tackle a dungeon without one. But it's not a flashy job, so there aren't many. Everyone wants someone like Chris. I see. Come to think of it, Aqua said Archpriest was in high demand, too. I guess your occupation could get you more than I realized. A few minutes later, we saw Chris walk out the door of the guild with several other adventurers in a party she'd found. She gave us a jaunty wave as she left. They're going to a dungeon now, even though it's almost dark? First thing in the morning is the best time to tackle a dungeon, Megumin said. So it is quite common for people to go to dungeons at night, before and camp out in the entrance. There are even some merchants who set up at the shop outside dungeons specifically to cater to adventurers who camp there. So how did it go, Kazuma? Did you learn a new skill? A shameless smile grew my face as I heard Megumin's question. How about I show you? Here I go! Steal! I shouted and thrust in my right hand towards Megumin. In a flash, I was holding a white piece of cloth. Yup. Panties again. I do not understand. Did your stats go up just enough for you to change your job from adventurer to pervert? She paused. It's rather chilly, so could you return my panties? What? That's weird. It's not. I mean, it's supposed to take something random. I hurriedly returned the panties to Megumin, and as the looks of the woman nearby went from chilly to freezing, I heard someone pound on the table with a slam. It was Darkness. Rising from her chair, for some reason, her eyes were ablaze. I knew it! I knew I had judged you correctly, you beast! Stealing the panties of such a young girl right here in public? I absolutely must be a part of this party! Nope. Herc! At my answer, Darkness turned red and began to shake. What was I supposed to do? I wasn't sure how, but I could tell this female knight was not the useful type. So, of course, Aqua and Megumin were immediately interested in her. Hey, Kazuma, who's this? Is this that girl you said you interviewed while Megumin and I were at the bathhouse yesterday? Wait, is she not a crusader? Why should you wish to refuse such a powerful ally? With one eye on Darkness, they each offered their altogether solicited opinions. Damn it. And here I'd worked so hard to put her off yesterday, so I didn't want her to meet these two. Alright, let's try this. Listen, Darkness, Aqua, I may not look like much, but we have a job to do. We need to defeat the Demon King. Aqua, of course, wanted to get back to their divine realm, but for my part, having been confronted by the reality of the world in which I could barely handle an overgrown Farog, I let alone a demonic sovereign, I was no longer feeling very enthusiastic about that task. I paid no attention to Megumin, who sat next to us, pretending to studiously ignore our conversation. Wait, actually, this might be the perfect moment. This goes for you too, Megumin, I said. Aqua and I want to defeat the Demon King at any cost. That's why we became adventurers, and because of that, things are likely to get pretty rough for us, especially for you, Darkness. You're a lady knight. Do you know what the Demon King would do if he captured you? I know exactly what you're talking about, Darkness said. From time immemorial, it has been the role of the Lady Knight to be the erotic plaything of the Demon King. Just that alone is enough to make me join you. Huh? Say what? Her eagerness brought me up short. Huh? What about that? Did I say something strange? All right, let's leave that one for now. I turned to Megumin. Megumin, look, we're up against the Demon King here. Aqua and I are taking the fight to the most powerful creature in this world. You don't have to force yourself to stick with such a crazy bunch of BAM! Megumin suddenly stood up. Her mantle fluttered. My name is Megumin, first among spellcasters of the Crimson of Magic clan and wielder of explosion. Is the Demon King known as the strongest in the world? Then I shall topple him with my strongest magic in the world. We were getting odd looks from around the hall as Megumin made her proud and thoroughly tweeny declaration. Useless. Don't give me that self-satisfied smirk, you. What was I gonna do? The two problem children I wanted most out of my party were the ones most eager to be in it. Hey, Kazuma! Kazuma! As I sat there stewing, Aqua tugged on my sleeve. After hearing all that stuff you were saying, I'm not sure about this anymore. Is there an easier way to beat the Demon King? You better get on board. Aren't you the one who needs to defeat him most of all? Oh, my eye. My hair's in my eye. It's dumb. At that moment, urgent request! Urgent request! All adventurers currently in town, please report immediately to the guild hall. Repeat, all adventurers, please report immediately to the guild hall. The announcement boomed through the streets. Maybe they were amplifying it with magic? Hey, what do they mean, an urgent request? Is a monster attacking? Is it the town or something? I was pretty concerned. Darkness and Megumin, on the other hand, looked thrilled. It's probably about the cabbage harvest, Darkness said happily. It's almost the season. I was silent for a long moment. Huh? Cabbage? Is that the name of the monster? I said dumbly. Megumin and Darkness both gave me a strange look of pity. Cabbages are green and round, Megumin said. You eat them. They're crunchy, delicious vegetables, Darkness added. I know what a cabbage is. So what? They're putting out an urgent quest so that we can all do farm work? Granted, I had been in construction myself until a little while ago, but I didn't come here for agriculture. Oh, Kazuma, I guess you might not know, but the cabbages around here, Aqua said hesitantly, trying to tell me something, but the desk clerk cut her off with a loud announcement to the adventurers in the hall. Everyone, please pardon our sudden call. Some of you have figured out this already, but it's cabbage season. This is the time of the year for the harvest to come. The cabbages are quite full this year, so we'll be paying 10,000 Aries ahead. We have already instructed the townspeople to evacuate their homes. Please catch as many cabbages as you're able and bring them back here. Please take care so their counterattacks don't hurt you. Finally, because of the large number of people involved, we will pay out a reward at a later date. What? What did she just say? A cheer went up from the guild hall. I followed the crowd to see what was going on and saw a bunch of round green objects floating nonchalantly around the streets. As I stood there, trying to take it in, Aqua appeared beside me and said solemnly, The cabbages here can fly. They get more flavorful as the harvest approach, but they don't have any intentions of ending up being on the menu without a fight. They make a run for it through the towns and the fields and head out to sea. It's said they cross the ocean and spend their days quietly in a place no one knows, where they can live out their lives without being eaten. Ugh. But if we catch even one, we'll get an awfully good meal out of it. I wondered if I could just go back to the stable and hit the hay, I muttered dimly. Next to me, a couple of adventurers braver than I were joining the chase with a shout. Their manly fervor seemed to be stoked by Cabbage's own desire to survive. As the adventurers threw themselves into the combat with the vegetables, I only had one thought on my mind. How sad is it that I have to fight to death with some leafy greens? I want to go back to Japan. I tried a bite of the stir-fry cabbage they were Part 4. I tried a bite of the stir-fry cabbage they were serving at the guild. I don't get it. How in the world can a regular cabbage stir-fry be this good? It makes no sense. The harvest was safely over, and all around town, people were trying out different recipes using the stuff. In the end, I'd forced myself out to be in the cabbage hunt because the money was good, and I felt the twinge of regret. I didn't come all this way to this fantasy world to fight with a bunch of vegetables. Way to go, Darkness, Aqua was saying. You really are a crusader. Those vegetables didn't stand a chance against your iron defense. Oh no, Darkness replied. I'm just tough. I'm clumsy and not very quick, and I can hardly hit anything with a sword. Acting as a human wall to protect my party is my only real talent. She paused. That's why Megumin impressed me so much. She was the one who brought down in one magnificent explosion all those monsters who had followed the cabbages into town. You sure took the adventurers out there by surprise. No one can stand against my explosion. Megumin took in a breath. Really though, Kazuma was remarkable. After I had collapsed from my spell, he rushed out, collected me, and brought me back. True, Darkness said. When I was surrounded by monsters and cabbages, all making me their punching bag, it was Kazuma who appeared and harvested the vegetables. You saved me, Kazuma. I thank you. I saw him hide with the ambush skill and track their movements with Sense Foe, and finally hit them from behind with the powerful steel attack, Megumin said. It was like watching a master assassin at work. Finally, there was a clink, and Aqua set down a plateful of her conquered cabbage. The useless goddess has spent the entire harvest running this way and that way by herself, just going wherever the cabbage is nearest, accomplishing nothing. Now she had wiped her lips daintily. Kazuma, by my name, I hereby give you the title Beautiful Cabbage Thief. That's ridiculous. If anyone ever calls me that, I'll pop him right in the mouth. How did things come to this? I leaned over onto the table with my head in my hands. This was an emergency. Anyways, my name is Darkness. My class is Crusader. I carry a two-handed sword, but please do not expect too much from me in battle. I'm so clumsy my attacks rarely land, but I'm very good at being a human shield. I look forward to adventuring with you all. That's right. I had another new party member. Aqua looked quite pleased, said, Our group is starting to look pretty impressive, huh? There's me, the archpriest, Megumin, the arch wizard, and Darkness, a crusader who specializes in frontline defense. How many parties can say they have 3 out of the 4 members are from advanced classes? Huh, Kazuma? You're so lucky! You ought to be grateful! Sure, lucky. I've got a spellcaster who can only cast 1 spell per day, a frontline fighter whose attacks never hit, and the world's dumbest, unluckiest archpriest, who, by the way, still hasn't done a single useful thing. Aqua and Megumin had really hit it off with Darkness during the cabbage hunt, and all of a sudden, they'd invited her to join our party. Normally, I'd have no reason to refuse. I mean, she was gorgeous. But Darkness, when she said her attacks never land, she meant it. Like, never. She was really gorgeous, though. Oh. The jammies changed. What are we listening to now? Nisakai. Has nothing to do with Konosuba. We can let it ride out. Not like anyone's ever going to listen to this. Ever. But for real though, if somebody does listen to this and they're like, wow, this is cool, and you want me to like do more, heck, I'm down. Start the track over from the beginning. Alright. Hiya. 35 minutes, baby. We're in. Where were we? Because she put every one of her skills into because she put every one of her skill points into defense abilities, she never learned anything like two-handed sword. In other words, the offense skills that give you basic competency with the weapon. What a waste for a girl who was so cool and so hot at the same time. This crusader of ours also had a weird habit of jumping in front of the middle of the horde of the monsters. I appreciated that of a crusader, whose whole duty was to protect the weak, would want more than anything to leap into the fray to help others, but... when those cabbages and monsters were beating me up, I could hardly stand it. It looked like I was on the... It looks like I'm the only frontline defense this party has, so don't hesitate to offer me up as a hostage or give me up as a human shield. If you decide you must sacrifice me in an awful fate to save yourselves from danger, please feel free to do so. Just imagining it has me shaking with excitement. Her teeth had turned a pale red, and her cheeks had turned a pale red, and she was shivering a little. Wait, I get it. She was a garden variety masochist. Now when I look at her, I don't see a hot girl, just a sexual deviant. So Kazuma, I'm sure I will, be the albatross around the party's neck at all times. So when I am, please punish me mercilessly for it. I look forward to working with you. An archpriest who knew every healing spell, an archwizard who could use the world's strongest magic, and a crusader with the impenetrable defense. It sounded perfect on paper, and yet right now, the only feeling I had about the future was a bad one. My adventure level rose to 6. Part 5. In other words, I went up 2 levels after the cabbage hunt. I hadn't even defeated them, just captured them. So why did my level go up? For that matter, why in the world were cabbages worth so much XP? There were so many questions, and thinking about them all made my head hurt, so I decided to just let it go. You couldn't let the ifs and ands of this world overwhelm you. Cabbages were worth 10,000 Aries a head. This was apparently because you could gain XP by eating them fresh, meaning adventurers with enough cash could grow strong just by having a meal. With the new levels came more skill points. Trying to figure out why you got skill points when you leveled something ripped straight out of a trying to figure out why you got skill points when you leveled something ripped straight out of a role-playing game would probably have me losing sleep over it, so I didn't bother. Like I said, you just couldn't let it get to you. When I'd leveled up, I'd received 2 skill points. A magic user and a warrior from another party I had met during the cabbage hunt had taught me a one-handed sword and basic magic. Each cost me 1 point. One-handed sword skill, obviously, allowed you to ably wield a one-handed sword. With that, I gained an average ability use of a weapon. I was now out of skill points again, but I wanted to learn magic even more than how to use a sword. How could I possibly come to a world that had magic and not want to try it out? Basic magic allowed you to use simple skills related to the 4 elements: fire, water, earth, and air. Incidentally, these basics weren't powerful enough to even kill or hurt anything. Most casters skipped basic magic entirely, saved up their points, and jumped right into mid-level magic. Intermediate magic cost 10 skill points. My magic wasn't very high, so at that price, I could just give up on learning offensive magic. I heard some people begin with a certain number of skill points based on natural talent. These prodigies weren't as rare as you'd think, and they could start out with 10 or even 20, taking an advanced class immediately. Megumin and Darkness, for example, must have been pretty well received when they started out. Aqua didn't count. While I, at level 1, had 0 skill points. Not gonna think about that too hard, I'll just get depressed. The more skill points I learned, the more like a real adventurer I became. All that was left was the outfit. Sometimes I changed into clothes I had bought in this world, but for the most part, it was just me, my tracksuit, and a short sword. I really needed some armor, even if it was just a bit of leather. And so, why do I have to come along with your dumb shopping trip? Aqua complained loudly as we walked through the armor shop. Because you need some equipment too. I may be wearing a tracksuit, but what have you got? A flimsy little female mantle? A flimsy little feather mantle? Aqua, like me, was still wearing the same thing that she had on when she got to this world. Every night, after changing into her pajamas, she washed it and put it in a bucket. She washed it in a bucket in the bin, splash, 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 then put it out to dry in the same place where we had dried the horse's hay. Dummy, Aqua said, looking put out. You seem to be forgetting that I'm a goddess. This feather mantle is holy. It's a unique item imbued with all kinds of magical properties. Status conditions don't affect it, and it's got exceptional durability. Lots of good stuff. There's no equipment better. I considered suggesting that she not hang her holy divine super item out with the horse feed. Hey, sounds good. If we're ever strapped for cash, we can sell that thing. Oh, this chest plate is made of leather, but it looks like a good start. Hey, were you joking? You were joking, right? This cloak is pretty much the only proof that I'm a goddess. You'll never really sell it, right? Right? Part 6. Oh ho, it seems clothes really do make the man. Indeed, Kazuma. Indeed, Kazuma at last looks the part of an adventurer. In the guild hall, which had become our official meeting spot, Darkness and Megumin admired my new outfit. I sort of wanted to ask exactly what they thought I had looked like before. Just some creeper? Now I looked like I belonged here. I had a leather chest plate and metal gauntlets and metal greaves. Aqua had said that my tracksuit alone killed some of the emergent around here. So the day before, I had brought several sets of appropriate clothes. I had been told that the magical skills usually require a free hand. I've been told that magical skills usually require a free hand, and since I had gone out of my way to learn some magic, I decided not to carry a shield. I had just the blade at my hip, in the style I had liked to think was a sort of a magical swordsman. I used up most of my money that I had made in that little steel contest with Chris, but there was enough left over to put food on the table for another week or so. Hey, I had some armor. I'd learned some skills. I wanted to go on a quest. When I told everybody about it, Darkness firmly nodded. It's mating season for the it's mating season for the giant toads, and many of our near towns could no more toads, Megumin and Aqua interrupted in unison. Why not? They're easy stab with a bladed weapon, which makes them easy to kill. Their only attack is to grab you with their tongue, and you can sell their carcass as a consumable, so they can make good money on them. You might get eaten if you're wearing only thin armor, but they hate metal, so I assume Kazuma wouldn't be targeted in the way he's dressed now. As for you two, Aqua and Megumin, I'll act as a shield for you. Oh, these two were traumatized by toads that ate them a while ago. They wound up covered in slime from head to toe. It's alright, let's find something else. For some reason, Darkness's cheeks had gone light red from the words. Don't tell me that thought excites you. It does not. She looked away bashfully, but I had a bad feeling. She wasn't going to disappear on a one-woman frog chase the minute I took my eyes off her, was she? Not counting that urgent cabbage hunt, I said, this will be the first quest for the four of us together. It'd be nice for us to just take it easy. Megaman and Darkness went over the board to see if there were any simple quests posted. Aqua rolled her eyes at Misa and said, what do you expect from a hickey-neat introvert? Kazuma, you're the weakest class, so I can see why you want to be cautious, but think of the rest of us. You've got a party full of advanced adventurers. Why not take some tougher quests? Make some real money, raise our levels, and then it's goodbye, Demon King. What I mean is, let's pick the most difficult mission we can find. I was silent for a long moment. Then I said, I hate to tell you this, Aqua, but you have yet to be any help at all. Aqua seemed aghast at my words, but I paid no mind and went on. I'm pretty sure I was supposed to get some super-powered item or ability from you so I wouldn't have any troubles here. And look, I'm the last person to complain when the gods themselves giving me free swag, but I didn't pick you over all the other stuff I could have. What? But didn't I pick you over all the other stuff I could have had? And now that we're come this far, I have to ask, have you done anything for me? Anything? That's better than what legendary loot or killer special ability I would have gotten. How about it? Back when we got here, you were sure you were all that, but you haven't proved it. You You self-proclaimed former you-know-what? I'm not a former. I'm still a goddess, Aqua said despondently. Straw Bunny! Thanks for joining the streamy. I practically shouted. I practically shouted now. Goddess? You? A goddess would give guidance to the hero. She would fight the Demon King herself, seal him away until the hero was ready. And what did you do to our cabbage hunt? Sure, you somehow wound up with a bunch of them, but all I saw was you crying and while flying vegetables chased you around. And what kind of deity gets bullied by something that goes in a stew? The only thing you know how to do is get eaten by frogs. Your only abilities are stupid party tricks, and you call yourself a goddess? I felt a bit satisfied after seeing Aqua collapse over the table, weeping. I'd gotten my revenge on her for making fun of me. But Aqua, it seemed, wasn't ready to let it drop. She looked up from the table and said, I can do lots of useful stuff. I know healing magic and healing magic. You know what? You can eat. How long do you think it'll take to defeat the Demon King at this rate, huh? You've got ideas. I'd love to hear them. She thinks she's clever. Aqua glared at me through teary eyes. I sneered at her. I cut class every day of high school to stay home and work on my pro gaming gear. You really think I don't have any ideas on how to handle this? You were a pro gamer? No, I just wanted to say it. Listen, Aqua, I don't have an amazing power like the usual protagonist of the story, but I do have the things I learned in Japan. So I was thinking, what if I made simple Japanese goods, something traditional they don't have here, and sell it? I've got good luck, right? Even the girl who registered us said I should go into trading. It's got me thinking, maybe adventuring isn't the only way to make money here. We can take other routes too. As long as we've got some cash, it won't be hard to get XP. We can buy cabbages or whatever to give XP just by eating it, and we can become stronger that way. True, the other Japanese here knew the same things I did, but unlike me, they'd taken the special powers as they were supposed to. They wouldn't think to do something so menial as selling handmade goods. They were too focused on their quest. Basically, the ROI from adventuring just wasn't very good. I'd only been on a frog hunt and a cabbage hunt so far, but looking at the quest board, nothing seemed to offer a reward proportionate for its dangers. Life was just cheap here. Sure, I periodically brought up the Demon King in front of Aqua for her benefit, but I tell you the truth, I wasn't thinking seriously about defeating him. It was meant instead, which meant instead I had to figure out how to live in this world and with the least fuss and the most comfort. Anyways, you get to thinking too. Think of something easy we can sell. And teach me that recovery magic of yours. I want to be able to heal when I have enough skill points. No, not my healing magic. I'll lose my reason for existing. You don't need to learn those spells. You have me. No. She flopped on the table and began weeping about me taking away the only thing that gave her existence any value. That was how Megumin and Darkness found us when they came back. What have you been up to? Megumin asked. You can be rather cruel, Kazuma. You could probably make any girl cry if you told her how you really feel. Darkness says. And if you need to let off some stress, why not leave Aqua alone and assault me instead? She paused. After all, it is a crusader's duty to stand in harm's way for others. Both of them looked up at Aqua, who was still crying. She seemed to realize everyone was watching her and buried her face in her arms, peering out periodically from between her limbs to stare at me. It was kind of annoying. Just look at her. Oh, wait. The opposite. Look, just ignore her. But Darkness, I glanced at her. I didn't know you were so svelte under all that armor. Darkness was wearing only a black tank top and a tight black shirt and leather boots. She still wore a giant greatsword across her back, making her look less like a knight. Making her look less like a knight than a simple warrior. Apparently, her armor was at the shop, having been damaged when she took the beating from the cabbages. I found myself unexpectedly speaking more gently to an unprotected Darkness. She was firm where a woman ought to be firm, and had a very shapely form. Frankly, it was turning me on. Standing next to Megumin only highlighted how developed Darkness was. I started to think that for a face that lovely and a body so smoking, I could maybe overlook some of her personal quirks. Oh, she cried out. Did you just say, how dare this pig have such a hot body? No, I didn't. I glanced at Megumin and Aqua. You know, I take it back. It doesn't matter how hot she is. Personality trumps it all. Then Megumin exclaimed, Hey, explain the meaning of that glance you just gave me. There's no meaning, I was just thinking. Thank God I'm not in the jailbait is all. Start a fight with someone of the Crimson Magic clan, and she'll always finish it, Megumin said, tugging on her sleeve. Let us step outside and... anyways, Darkness broke in. If we're going to do a quest, how about that one that will help Aqua gain some levels? What do you mean? I said. Is anyone offering one of that convenient? And Aqua had learned pretty much every skill there was for her to learn, with her starting points anyways, so I didn't think she needed to be too worried about leveling up. As a rule, it's hard for priests to level up since they lack real offensive abilities. They can't run out and just kill something like a warrior can, or rush in with a blast of magic like a wizard. So priests prefer to hunt the undead. There are mortal monsters that have turned against the laws of God. The power of the divine has the opposite effect on the undead. Hit them with the healing magic, and it actually destroys them. Now that I had thought about it, it sounded familiar. It was pretty similar to most video games. Recovery magic also was an attack against undead enemies. I don't know though, would a few levels even help this useless goddess? Then I had a flash of inspiration. When my level went up, so did my stats. Would that be the same for Aqua? She was still slumped over the table, crying crocodile tears and peeking at us every once in a while. To see if we were paying attention. If this idiot's levels went up, wouldn't her intelligence stats rise a little too? That would be the most efficient way to make her more useful in battle. Hey, that's not a bad idea, I said. But Darkness, your armor isn't back yet from the shop. Darkness crossed her arms and complained, Not a problem for me. I didn't specialize in defensive skills for nothing. Even without armor, I'm tougher than animanimoys. Plus, I prefer to feeling of being hit without any protection. Did you just say you enjoy being hit? No. Yes, you did. Did not. Silence. So, Aqua, want to try it? She looked at our archpriest, whose face was still hidden in her arms. Hey, don't just sit there blubbering. Say something. We're talking about leveling here. I reached out and was about to smack her on the shoulder, but that's when I noticed. She had tired herself out from crying and falling asleep. Was she a goddess or a toddler? Woo. Part 7. We were still on a hill outside. It was a communal cemetery for those who had died poor or without anyone to bury them. Interment was the custom here. No coffin, just straight into the ground. Our quest was to deal with the undead monsters that were plaguing the graveyard. It was almost dusk. We'd pitched camp nearby and were waiting for dark. Hey, Kazuma! I had dibs on the meat. We've got some perfectly good grilled vegetables right here. Eat some. That cabbage hunt, I kind of killed my interest in any vegetables. I'm always afraid they're going to fly around or jump out in the fire while I'm trying to cook them. We'd set up a small grill off the cemetery grounds and were making dinner while we waited. It might seem like a lax thing to do when we were ostensibly hunting monsters, but this time our mission was on a low-level creature called a zombie maker. They were a kind of evil spirit that controlled zombies. The zombie maker commandeered the best corpse and then had several undead lieutenants. We took the quest because we had heard even novice parties could take on zombie makers. Maybe it was a less risky for unarmored Darkness as well. My stomach pleasantly filled. I took some powdered coffee and dumped it into the mug. I used simple magic spell called Create Water to fill it up. Then another called Kindle to start a fire to heat it up. These were the functions of basic magic I had learned from the wizard at the cabbage hunt. Kindle, as the name implied, was used to start fires. You couldn't hurt anyone with it, but it was more than convenient than a lighter. Megaman held out her empty mug with a perplexed look. Could I have some water too, please? I am surprised though, Kazuma. You know even more spells than I do. Most people skip over basic magic, but you make it look rather useful. I chanted Create Water over Megaman's cup. I thought that was what basic magic was for. Oh yeah, create earth. What's this one do? I held my palm out and there was a fine I held my palm out, which was full of fine soil. Basic magic encompassed spells related to the 4 elements, but only the earth spell left me without any idea what to do with it. Oh, I have heard it's especially rich soil which uses to grow things. That is all. Aqua piped up after that. Growing things, huh? How about it, Sir Kazuma? Planning to switch jobs to a farmer? You can make your own fields and do your own irrigation. Why, you were practically born for it. I pointed my soil-filled hand right at Aqua with a gesture with my hand. Wind breathe! My eyes! A gust of wind blew the dirt straight into Aqua's face. The goddess was, and her sand-filled eyes writhed on the ground. Huh? So that's how you use it. No, no, it isn't. That is not how you're supposed to use it. How come you are better at beginner magic than an actual wizard anyways? Woo! Oh man, we can finish this. Alright. Part 8. I feel a chill, Kazuma. Didn't the quest say we were looking for a zombie maker? I don't think it's that simple. I have a feeling a much worse kind of undead is waiting for us, Aqua said quaveringly. The moon had risen, and it was late for the night. Hey, don't say that. You'll jinx us. We're here to take out one zombie maker. Then we rebury the zombie, head back to the stable, and go to sleep. And if anything weird happens and things don't go according to plan, we'll skip right back to going home, okay? Everyone nodded. It was almost time. We began to walk to the graveyard with me at point, using the sense foe skill I had learned from Chris. Aqua's words bothered me, but not too much. She was always spouting pointless nonsense after all. Well, almost always. Huh? I feel kind of a tingle. Sense foe is working. There's 1, 2, 3. Huh? That was too many. Granted, we had heard zombie makers could make 2 or 3 zombie underlings, but within the this was within that margin of error. And just as I was thinking, a bluish-white light shone through the middle of the cemetery. What was that? The light was weirdly, wondrously blue. It seemed oddly far off, and it looked like a magic circle. And standing next to the circle was a black-robed figure. Odd. I do not believe that a zombie maker, Megaman whispered uncertainly. Several human forms milled about near the robed person. Do we go in? It may not be a zombie maker, but anyone in a graveyard at this time of the night is an undead for sure. So, as long as we've got our archpriest with us, we'll be fine. Darkness was fidgeting, holding her great sword against her chest. Calm down already, you. Then Aqua seemed to lose it. Ha ha! She screamed suddenly, and then, before I could figure out what she was thinking, she leapt up and dashed towards the robed figure. What? Hey, wait! She didn't seem to hear me. Instead, as she neared the mysterious character, she pointed her finger at it accusingly. How dare a lich show her face so nonchalantly? You'll pay for this. A lich? That was a serious undead monster, up at the top pecking order of with vampires and the like. They were known as no-life kings, mages who'd mastered the very limits of magic and had abandoned their natural bodies through arcane rituals. Unlike the average undead, who had gotten away because of an enduring grudge or powerful attachment to the world, liches were unhallowed beings who deliberately twisted the laws of nature. Basically, you ought to expect to see him as a final boss, and here we are, looking at one. Eek! Stop it! Who are you? I'm sure. Spit it out. Confess! Our enemy was a fearsome foe. The final boss was clinging tearfully to Aqua's leg, trying to keep her from stomping all over the circle. The undead that the lich was controlling The undead that the lich was controlling did nothing to intervene, just stared blankly at the two of them. So, what now? I guess we didn't have the zombie maker on our hands at any rate. Aqua kept shouting about lich, but the supposedly powerful monster looked like a girl getting bullied by some punk. Stop it! Stop, please! The circle helps lost souls find their way to heaven. Look, you see those souls ascending in that circle? We got some art. Look at that lich. Look at that bully Aqua, messing everything up. It was true. The bluish-white human-like figures were appearing from out of nowhere, entering the circle and flowing up to the sky and vanishing. You put on a pretty good girl act, Lich, but how about you sit back and let an archpriest handle the good guy stuff? Why bother with silly magic rings when you can just take care of the whole cemetery at once? What? Wait, stop! The Lich grew ever more panicked at Aqua's pronouncement. Aqua ignored her and spread her arms wide and cried, "Turn undead!" The white light spread from Aqua and engulfed the entire graveyard. No sooner had the light touched the Lich zombie than they vanished. When it had reached the human souls who had gathered in a circle, they too disappeared. And then the light reached the Lich. I'm vanishing! Stop! Please stop it! I'm going to disappear! I'm not ready to move on yet! Ah ha ha ha! Foolish Lich! The fire of the Be careful, Kazuma. If you talk to this rotten apple, you'll become undead too. Let me cast Turn Undead on her. Aqua angrily jumped into her feet to make a cast a spell on Wiz. Wiz ducked behind my back, looking both frightened and dismayed, before saying, "Yes, I'm a Lich, as you can see, a no-life king, but I'm a ruler among the undead. I can hear the cries of the wandering souls. This is a communal graveyard. Most of the people here were too poor to receive a proper burial, and now they drift among the graves every night, unable to reach heaven. Since they are under my authority, I come here regularly to help the little ones who wish to ascend to heaven." Gosh, this really pulls on my heartstrings. She was actually a good person, other than some shopkeepers, maybe the first really decent person I had met getting here. I mean, I guess I wasn't a person in the strictest sense. I guess she wasn't a person in the That's really admirable, but isn't that something you should leave to the town's priests to take care of? Coming here. Long pause. Oh, isn't there something we can do? Part 9. We were on our way home from the cemetery. "I cannot accept this," Aqua said angrily. The sky was already brightening. "Sorry, she was so sweet. How can you want to destroy her?" We decided to let the Lich go, and we agreed that Aqua, who had plenty of times on her hand anyways, would go to the graveyard every so often to help the wandering spirits. Aqua might have been a pretty rotten goddess, but even she seemed to understand that helping lost souls and the undead was her duty. Even if she complained about not being able to sleep in anymore. Darkness and Megaman, who at first resisted the idea of letting the monster off the hook, relented when they learned that Wiz had never actually attacked anyone. I looked at the piece of paper Wiz had gotten me and muttered, "A Lich just makes her home in this town and nobody minds? Some security." The piece of paper gave her address. It turns out she was living in Axel, just like we were. In fact, she was running a small shop that specialized in magic items. When I said I'd pictured Liches living in the deepest depths of the dungeons, she replied that dungeons were awfully inconvenient, and there was no reason to go out of your way to live there. I got what she was saying. Liches were human ones, too. But even though I got it, this place sure had upended most of my assumptions about fantasy worlds. It was nothing like the games I had led me to believe. All the same, I'm glad things ended peacefully. We may have had Aqua on our side, but we were still facing a Lich. If it had come to a fight, Kazuma would have surely died, Megaman said casually. I almost choked. Are Liches really that dangerous? Just how close of a call was this? Close does not begin to describe it. Liches have extremely high magical defense, and only enchanted weapons can harm them. They can inflict a variety of status conditions merely by touching you, or they can absorb your HP and MP. Truly, they are legendary foes. Indeed, what I find perplexing is that Aqua's Turn Undead spell worked on her at all. Good point. Liches were at the top of the undead heap after all. I was happy to take her business card because she said that she would teach me some Lich abilities, but when I went to see her again, I figured I'd be sure to bring Aqua with me. Kazuma, give me that business card. I'm gonna get her I'm gonna get to her house before she does and place a holy barrier around it. That'll show her. Lay off it, would ya? On second thought, maybe I'd leave her at home. Darkness interrupted my thoughts with a question. Where does this leave our zombie maker quest? With a sigh, we all said at once, oh, quest failed. End of chapter. We did it. We did it. Day 8 of streaming 30 every day for 30 days successfully completed. I'm exhausted. Motherfuckers, I'm going to bed. Hey, if anybody in the world enjoyed listening to reading this, let me know. It would I don't know, it'd be cool. Alright everybody, Dragon the Waifu King out.